Hi, you guys. Yesterday was just a really busy day, and I didn't get to do the reads. And I wanted to. I did. I think I think that need to triage sort of, what you can do in a day and what's most important to do on that day and so forth. I mean, I had stuff going on personally. I had to attend a town meeting thing because there's trouble on that strata. I had certain kind of communications from people that I needed to really process before I responded. So I had to sort of pick my battles, or pick my, areas that I could put my attention into, because I knew I couldn't cover every, I just couldn't. I couldn't have that many plates in the air, those guys who have the plates on sticks. So I was just really aware of that, and kind of felt the need to, absolve myself of a certain degree of guilt that I could, because they were all legit things. And some of them just couldn't happen then and had to sort of be pushed ahead. And another thing that happened in one of these communications that I really, sorry. It's funny because I talk about the hard communication, my throat closes up. One of these communications took a long time for me to figure out what I was going to say and what was fair to say, and how to be honest in it, because they were asking a favor of me that I couldn't, that involved me asking the favor of somebody else. It was a real triangulation, which I've done countless times. But the guy said, "Are you willing, anyway, to triangulate for me?" And I just thought about it a long time, because his concern was legit. I knew the person he wanted me to contact maybe could meet the need that he had. And could I meet the need by, and it just was too, I mean, I think that the triangulation thing is problematic most of the time. And I've done it. And it never really works. Unless it's marriage counseling or something, a boxing match where there's a referee. I mean, it's a bizarre position to take on, or to be put, to have somebody try to put you in that position when you like both people they're asking you to triangulate with, So I said no. But it took me like a day to think about it, and about 2 hours to respond by an email. And the person who asked me this, it's a troubled relationship. So it's like, what are you, I had to make sure I wasn't doing it in a way to punish, and I said, I've triangulated before and it's not worked for me. And I hope you find another way to get there that works. This isn't one of them. So that was the second thing on the list, was having to set boundaries with people you care about, and sympathize with their, whatever it is their, I don't know, I see a big line over my face and I'm wondering if I've smeared something. Sorry, it's like not a good time to get self-conscious. Well, that leads me to my third thing. I have balance issues, which I've talked about before, and it's got to be a shadow. There's something getting distracted by the imperfections. My balance issues just lately have come back big time. I think because I was trying to cover all these bases, and it just affects me physically when I do that. And so I went to this public meeting, doing my civic duty and all of that. It turned out nothing happened at the meeting. Nothing. I mean, we went through the thing and we're all supposed to vote, and everybody, 92 people, yay, 6 people, nay. And that was the ratio for every vote. Along that same, nobody was persuaded, nobody so I was like, why am I even there? But that was one of the obligations, and the room was packed, and because everybody anticipated that things were going to go down. Nothing went down. It's going to pop out somewhere else. But there were a lot of people there, so the people I came with, we all were going to climb the bleachers and sit where we could see over everybody's head. There were a bunch of people in the bleachers already, or a few. And so yeah, we said, let's go. And they just climbed the bleachers like, no problem. Billy goats, just boo-loo-loo. And they're my age. And I started to try to get, to get off the first bench. And I did. I made it to the second bench. But by doing like combat crawl, I had to pull, it was ridiculous. And I had, I had stuff in my hands I couldn't really lean on. It was touch and go whether I would make it to the second. And it was in front of a lot of people. And I, of course, imagined eyes on me. No eyes were on me. Maybe my friends' eyes were on me, but, it wasn't a big deal to anybody but me. And it was a big deal to me because it's my body that's, I have to accommodate how it really is. Nobody else has to climb the bleachers for me. I'm not there yet. But it's a struggle for me. And it's a public struggle. And if nobody's paying attention, that almost doesn't matter. There's a thing called, I think it's Tara Brach. It's just a wise woman who delivers lectures, used to be in person, COVID via video. But she's, I watched her stuff all the time at one point. I haven't so much lately. But one of the things I got from her that was useful to me, pretty very useful, was the idea, and it's, I think, a Zen, it's an idea that comes from Buddhism, and it has to do with, there's the initial hard thing, the fact that I have a balance issue, that I have to crawl to get where I'm going. It takes time. That's the first arrow, is called, that's the impact of the first thing that's hard. And you need to watch for second arrow, which usually is something self-inflicted. And for me, that's the shame I feel for being for being sick. And I'm not even really, I wouldn't categorize myself as sick. I just have taken hits that have left me with certain limitations that probably aren't permanent, but embarrass me to the point where, there were later things happening in the week, going out to lunch with somebody, or going to somebody's house for tea or whatever it is. And, so I immediately brought my sort of shame around this public thing where nobody's paying attention into closer relationships, one-on-one things, where I suddenly thought, ooh, should I cancel lunch? Will it be embarrassing to me and to them if I have to go to the ladies' room and I'm like, it's a struggle to get there, so it bleeds over into other, You know, shame has a way of migrating. So at least I could see it, which is, you know, that's a big step on the journey to just accepting how I am, so that whether other people accept it or not is not so much an issue. It's not in their triage list to be focusing on my, you know, anyway, out of this weird sort of adversity on a lot of strata in my life, I came away with some struggle, you know, working through the shame, working through why am I ashamed, the shame for being ashamed, third arrow, you know, and you can really, your mind can spin on that axis of like, non-acceptance. I talked the other day about this brilliant philosophy professor whose ultimate advice was start where you are. And that's the kind of, you know, I have to keep restarting, beginner's mind, restarting where I am. Rather than regretting where I've been, rather than I mean, it's actually pretty useful to envision a future where there's not a focus on the negative, the disability, the whatever it is. You know, you picture yourself on the deck of a sailboat, you know, where the up and down feeling is a really positive thing. You can do that. And that's one way of really working with it, along with physical therapy, along with whatever else you can do to deal with the actual problem. There was an issue in some of these communications yesterday that I had to puzzle my way through because they involved triangulation. And, you know, being asked for help that involves me having to ask somebody else to help me so that I can help, when that person could find their own help by another way than trying to channel it through me. I don't know. I do it a lot. Maybe I already touched on that, but it was really I didn't like to deny, and I didn't really deny help. I said, these are the avenues you could take to get the thing directly. And when I need the help for that very thing you're asking about, that's what I ultimately did. First I triangulated, and then I came to the understanding that, you know, I could feel better in other ways. Because triangulation does not ordinarily satisfy anybody in the triangle. I mean, in that sense of, because Three of Pentacles, a kind of triangle, is cooperation. But this is different than that. So let's see what comes out. Focus. Triage, focus. Knight of Wands. Don't even know. I think that's something we need to keep going right away. It has so many possible meanings. You know, if I read reversals and it came out like that, it would have other connotations. If this were, oh, it's an in and out energy, it's immature, it's unsettled. If it were like this, it would likely mean not unsettled. You know, that energy of isn't present. But I don't know, I just don't know enough, because I just read in upright, I need the context. You know, reversal being the kind of same card, same energy, but just how it might apply in a way that is the energy is absent or the energy is opposite. You know, it's flipped. It's in reverse. You know, the guy on the messenger, the passionate messenger who wants something and is coming in fast to get it. No fast, no desire to get, don't know. Knight of Wands, please. Whoa! Wow, that has some energy. 3 are out. Oof. Oh my God. Bending over does balance. And it's not woo, woo, woo spinning. It's like the deck of the ship. So we're on a boat, apparently. Okay. Knight of Wands, 9 of Wands. It's either somebody who's going to push through or somebody who's too tired to be in that energy. Same energy, Wands energy, which speaks to direction and inspiration and forward movement. But this is somebody who's tired. You know, it may be in a triage situation where, you know, they can only they've attended to so many things, 9 things or something, and they haven't been able to focus. So they're just taking a time out to figure out what's the wand, what's the important one now. And then maybe this is like, once you figure that out, you can act on it. 10 of coins. Now it might be that's this Knight of Wands energy trying to go through exhaustion to get to 10 of Pentacles. You know, it seems to me when I'm exhausted, I have to take care of that first. That's the triage. Hard to attain this if you're feeling depleted. 9 of Wands is wounded warrior. I mean, this guy doesn't look particularly wounded, but he's certainly moving beyond certain wands and choosing one. Like putting his energy into the one thing. Because it's a big ask. 10 of Pentacles. You know, for everything in my life and in your life, you know, in our lives, because 10 of Pentacles isn't just about me. Everything in our lives to really be okay, where all needs are met. And my disappointment in myself that I couldn't meet all the needs, I couldn't do it. And I think that surrender, I can't do it, I release it to, I mean, I hope you can do it, you know, which is sort of what I did in the communication. I was just like, you got to find another way to do it. One person can't bear the burden for making the whole village feel better. This is a card sort of everybody pulling their weight. Pentacles are like weight. Your investment in things, the time you're willing to put into it, how much it matters to you. And wounded warrior cannot do this for everybody. That's what this card implies. Where everybody's safe and nourished. And 9 of Wands, this guy may have become depleted because I think, anyway, let's see. 8 of Wands. Flow, communication. Reprioritizing almost, because, you know, if you're depleted, you can't make everybody happy. 9 of Pentacles. That's not even your job. But, as in my situation, all I could do was craft an email that was helpful, not hurtful, but also included the message of, I can't meet your needs. I'm busy with other stuff. I have to prioritize. And I hope you find your healing elsewhere. And it's, if you're a wounded warrior, you find you're also the warrior of healing the wound. First for yourself. Triage. It begins, what is that thing? Something begins at home. Can't remember. But this is the communication. And maybe that's the best Knight of Wands can do right now. One more row with this deck one. No, okay. So, let's clarify this Knight, starting with this Knight of Wands. And if you're in this energy, it's almost like hyperactive. Of course you get exhausted. If you're dodging around like I was, trying to do too much. I'm amazed I didn't get a migraine last night, but I didn't. Because that's what happens to me. It will affect me physically. And Wounded Warrior is that sort of where it not only exhausts your psyche, it exhausts you, your life force, your Wand's energy, your fire. Let's see. Knight of Wands, please. Spirit. Quite a few. Okay. Supposed to just clarify with these. On Knight of Wands, we have the Moon, a major arcana card of Pisces. And I think the useful is the wrong word, but the power that you can tap into to gain strength from is an emotional, is facing fears. That's one meaning of Moon. And this is on the psychic level, the big time, hard-hitting, bigger than just your day-to-day experience, major arcana, the first one out. Deep feelings that are maybe daunting, a little scary. And this isn't a card of being scattered in your day-to-day life. This is a card of like getting into Piscean energy, the water energy of feelings, submerging in it, being willing to not only submerge in it, but to let what's going to rise up, these critters that are coming out, come out. It's that kind of meeting place. You're going into the realm where these things can come up, through your subconscious. And you don't get into this, you get there by sleep, you get there by trance state, you get there by meditation, you don't get there by jumping around. I mean, maybe the whirling dervish can do it that way, but this isn't that kind of energy. It's not conducive to Piscean energy, which is about slowing down, feeling things. Because apparently the feeling things involves hurt. This guy would have experienced that. He's wounded, warrior. He's been through it. You know, he's recovered strength on his own. That was the priority. So, I mean, this is something happened that hurt. Something happened that hurt. And that, you know, it like opened up the possibility of exploring the bigger hurt. You know, in terms of the second arrow thing, these swords are looking to me like 3 arrows. Like there was the first emotional hurt, and your brain kind of migrated it to multiplied it by 3. This hurt reminds me of that hurt. I've hurt somebody that way. Well, that's actually a useful way to look at it. But, you know, one hard thing, because you're thinking about it in a certain way, brings up these other hurts. It could be even like, I got hurt this way by this person, and then they hurt me again in the same way. They did it 3 times. And now every time I think about it, sword energy, that's another arrow. I'm surprised 10 of wands, 10 of swords hasn't shown up yet. And this is, this heart is circled in barbed wire. There's something about, there's a Sting song that wrapped your heart in barbed wire. You know, can I breach the gap and all that. As a kind of a way of trying to protect your heart from further hurt. But to put your heart in barbed wire is also to hurt your heart. 5 of Pentacles. I mean, I think this was another hurt. I feel out in the cold. You know, somebody didn't help me. And maybe they couldn't. Maybe they were too, you know, they were too, like I was the other day. I had priorities. I had to triage. But my understanding that intellectually doesn't make it hurt the less when in somebody else's triage, I don't rise to the top of the list. You know, let's heal my hurt. And they've got other more important things to do. And that can be very true. At the same time, it hurts and it puts me in some way out in the cold. Tower. Towers, I see a positive energy of breaking out of a constraining mindset or circumstance. And it's a situation usually where you don't, you know, the person isn't the agent of their own liberation. Something happens, this lightning strike, the energy from the universe comes and explodes this thing. It's like a natural disaster. You know, it's something that happens in the environment. And there's usually a sense that the universe is doing this to liberate you. I think that's often true. Sometimes it's just the kind of random event, the natural disaster, that breaks you out of a bad situation. Which I think is Three of Swords, the heartache, the heartbreak, and Five of Pentacles, you know, kind of the next arrow. Not only did you hurt me, you put me out in the cold, which is no joke. That's hard. But there's been some kind of a release from that. Something happened. It's sort of like something that could look like a natural disaster is actually a liberation from this barbed wired state of the heart. And, it seems to me the forces that reside in our unconscious, even if they're uncomfortable and fearful to us, when they come up and are processed, that can be a healing thing. Initially, it can feel like wrestling an alligator, or, one of these things emerging from the depths. I think it's in this depiction a lobster. Wrestling a lobster, I don't know. Would not be easy. Page of Swords. Somebody looking at something, needing more information. She said emphatically. This guy has his eyes shut and the sword in the air because he doesn't know. He doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't know where to locate it. He's kind of there's something about he needs to learn more. He needs to find a truth. A sword energy as something he can believe in, something he understands, he, she, they. And he's at the edge of I've never noticed that before, different than Rider-Waite. He's got his back to, there's a kind of a ravine behind his back. And it almost looks like, he's within inches of stepping into it, taking the tumble. There's something else he needs to focus on, I think. Pay attention to. We were talking about that. What do I focus on? What's the most important thing? Well, I'd say right now it's like turn around and open your eyes. There's something dangerous in this. Pages are youthful energy. And it's a stage we all have to go through to get to those higher vibing expressions of ourselves. The Knight, the Queen, the King, the major arcana representation of sword energy, understanding, communication, and it's interesting that we have the card of communication here, and we have the card of dangerously not focusing on the right thing. And that may have precipitated, been contributed to this tower. And maybe it's in a sense that this person isn't paying attention to what's right behind him, that he could tumble into. He could fall off this. It doesn't look like it's a substantial drop. This can also be epiphany. But it may be, another possible is the epiphany, that happens on this deep level of the archetype when it's processed, when the feelings are plumbed. then you have to learn something from them. There's a lesson. You need more information about what the stuff is that's coming up. Because you've got an inkling here. And an inkling really isn't enough because there's a potential peril. King of Cups on the bottom of the deck. It's on Moon. Because this is a card, you know, it's nice when I sort of think, where does it go? It goes here, says whoever, my intuition. And it's a card of feelings. Piscean energy, Moon energy. This is somebody who knows what they feel. They've done the deep dive into their feelings and are in the position now of being able to express them. That's the King energy, is take action. Take action. Three of Swords, right off the bottom of the deck. Ace of Wands. There's a brand spandy new. Brand spandy new. I don't know. That may be a Southern expression. You know, the King of Cups is able to process his feelings about something that hurt him and that sapped his fire energy. Sapped his fire energy. But by processing their feelings, that's like the spark of fire. Out of the sort of coldness of sword energy, because it can be cold, into the warmth of being alive. And sometimes you know you're alive when you get the arrow, you know, when something hurts. It kind of can, I don't know, just bring you into the present. I don't know. It's the opportunity for growth here. The wand isn't on fire. It's sprouting. It's the potential for growth and life being offered. And I think accepted. Five of Pentacles, please. Okay. I love it. Queen of Wands. Now we have in the Wands energy, Ace and 9 and 8, the Queen. Highly intuitive. Doesn't at all run around like I was doing, trying to fix things for everybody. You know, that's not, you know, she's not Knight of Wands, she's Queen of Wands. And might have been a wounded warrior herself who wishes she could, I mean, that's how I felt, like I've been wounded too. I can't fix your wound. That's the work for you to do. Maybe in concert, I mean, I told this person, you know, go to a professional. If you're in that kind of pain, Three of Swords, take the action yourself. Ace of Wands. Aces are like the personal card. To heal yourself. And Queen of Wands would intuitively know that it's not her job to rush around fixing anybody. She's not the energy of King of Wands. I'll do it. I know what to do. Do. She's not about that. She's about tap into your intuition about, you know, what are the energies at work here? And it's on Five of Pentacles. Well, for anybody being left out in the cold, Five of Pentacles hurts. This character would be able to, it would not fundamentally compromise her power. She'd be able to access that wand, that Ace of Wands. In fact, this character already has. It's right in her hand. It's who she is. He, she, they, which is always implicit. It's not about gender, it's about energy. So Five of Pentacles being out in the cold. I mean, out in the cold, this is a fire sign. Right in her own self, she has warmth and life force and fire. Judgment. Brand spandy new. You know, there's been a death, there's been a rebirth. And again, in the tower thing where I kept saying it's really the universe doing it, yes and no. Clearly somebody's been doing a lot. Nine of Wands. To the point of exhaustion. And Tower implies it's not your fault this thing is blown up. It's actually to your benefit. The circumstance, while in the short term perhaps looks shitty, looks like out in the cold, blasted out of the tower into who knows what. This is sort of like a circumstance then catches you. You fall. But the higher powers that be kind of resurrect you. Because Tower can feel like a death. It's the definitive ending of something on the psychic level. And this is on that same hard-hitting, deep, archetypal energy, the non-death. The resurrection. It goes on Eight of Wands. Something in the communication. Well, I think it's somehow the same thing, that the communication helps this rebirth. The way something external, like the Three of Swords, Five of Pentacles, had a good result because it was a liberation and an epiphany, and not an easy one. But circumstance kind of like helped put you out of the place that didn't fit. And there's something about the universe applauding, the higher powers that be applauding, you know, that Gabriel with his horn, you know, they're coming back to life. I don't know, I always feel compelled to do the horn thing. King of Swords. Well, first and foremost, somebody who's true. What he says rings true. He believes it. He says what he believes. He takes action, king, on the basis of what, and not even believes. He, you know, in the sense of, it's not like an intuitive belief. It's He's gotten to the truth in another way, through honestly thinking about something. On Knight of Wands, very different energies. Knight of Wands being the one who's dodging about. King of Swords, you know, is a completely different, this guy knows what he wants. This guy is, you know, everywhere trying to figure it out. This is somebody who's done that, you know, absorbed the lesson. Something's happened, Tower. That moved him from page to king. Somebody who's mastered that acute perception. And there's something a little bit severe about it. So we have 2 kings on the board and 1 queen. It might be 2 people taking action, one on the plane of intellect, one on the plane of feelings. Whoa. Okay. Oh my. 8 of Swords again. Oh, Jesus. Maybe like a hidden message. 10 of Pentacles. So we have 2 repeats here. Among the first cards that came out were the 8 of Wands and the 10 of Pentacles. In this order. Eight of Wands on 9 of Wands. You know, and it might be communicating, I'm exhausted. 9 of Wands. You know, telling the truth. I know enough to know I can't be dodging around right now. And 10 of Pentacles on 10 of Pentacles. That's nuts. Well, 8 of Wands is a back and forth communication. So there are 2 people involved in whatever's going on here, at least. We have 2 kings and a Queen of Wands. Eight of Wands twice, 10 of Pentacles twice. Oh no, what am I doing? Well, 8 of Wands twice. But here we have 8 of Wands. I think it's communicating about the fact that somebody's saying I'm depleted. Give me something on these 2 10 of Pentacles. I think both parties, they're back and forth communication, and both parties have the vision of this larger group, 10 of Pentacles. Don't quite get that. Can you tell me about the double 10s, please? You can. I saw this earlier. It was there when those, I don't know when I saw it. I think it was when the second 10 of Pentacles and the second 8 of Wands popped out. It's lovers. And I was just talking about 2 people involved. a burden being put down. And then the connection can happen, I think. Because there's baggage. Ten of Wands often depicts somebody carrying a big bunch of stuff that's making them bow down because it's heavy. It's baggage. That's being cleared. And I think it's through this communication. You know, Ten of Wands, Ace of Wands. The new beginning is extracted from the heartache, and it will involve a conversation, and maybe more than one, Eight of Wands, to do this. Because both parties have baggage of some kind. And maybe with each other as well. They're putting it down. Knight of Pentacles. Slow forward progress. You know, and work. Pentacles is work. Attention, focus, work. Slow progress. I mean, you don't maybe put down your burdens in one fell swoop. He's carrying them all out in a big bundle. But he had to gather those, decide what wands can go so that I can have this, clearing the way for this. And it's again that image of if there are too many plates in the air, too many balls in the air, too much on the plate, however you want to look at it, something has to go to get to this. And the suggestion here is like, unchain my heart. Joe Cocker, great song. Set me free. And it looks like that happens for this new beginning. It's slow, you know, working away at something over time. It's not Knight of Wands, ooh, work everywhere all at once. You know, being so scattered that you can't see anything through to the end. Well, in this, Knight of Pentacles is reliable and slow and sees things through, step by step by step, till it's done. And it might involve, you know, a lot of this, discerning what we don't need. It's slow going. Anything else for this relationship? I was looking at Tower when I asked the question. Seven of Wands, more wand energy. We have the 7, the 8, the 9. 7, 8, 8, 9, 9. Things have to be repeated more than one. You know, it's not something we cycle through in one kind of Knight of Wands way, taking care of everything all at once. It's not that. And this is sort of like you're going to say yes to some things and no to others. Block others, 7 of Wands, because you have other priorities. You know, no relationship, 2 of Cups or otherwise, is about meeting each other's needs all the time. Every need is met in this relationship. That's not possible, I don't think. Page of Cups. The young love. The young love. And it might be, you know, because King of Cups on Moon is a very strong card of understanding your feelings, being able to channel them from the depths up into the world. This is not that. This is somehow blocking. Well, maybe in the triage of things, you block the little, the less significant love. Can also be an apology for blocking. I think we have to get one more on that to sort of clarify it. Seven of Wands, Page of Cups, please. And it's, well, that's interesting. We have the Page of Swords, King of Swords, Page of Cups, King of Cups. There's been great growth here. There's been a lot of maturation. Remember I said I'm surprised we haven't seen Ten of Swords? Well, here it is. The closing out of a painful cycle. We have two tens, Ten of Wands, Ten of Cups, putting down the burden of something that hurt. To the max it hurt. You know, if you're putting barbed wire around your wounded heart, which we've pretty much seen that, that in and of itself is another, that's where I said it. It's like the first sword, first arrow, second arrow, third arrow, and before you know it, 10 arrows. Some of which are self-inflicted. It's like the reverberation of the pain. You get stuck in a mental loop where it's all about the pain. And this is the end of that. That's being blocked. Wow. Devil. To me, devil energy is an energy of working with your pain, with your shadow, with stuff that hurt and was stuffed, repressed, not acknowledged. And usually when this card shows up, it's time to acknowledge it and perhaps apologize. Because this is not a healthy behavior for two people to be engaged in this kind of codependent thing that brings up their it isn't healthy with each other. They're not healthy with each other. And I think what it is these two are able to close out the hurtful cycle, to know what is and isn't to be admitted, Seven of Wands, what to block, what to stand up for, and what may be left after you close out that cycle is one cup, one small but real feeling that's being expressed. Pages are a learning energy, a fresh energy. It's like a reset of a kind. And it is sort of backed up by King of Cups. Once this cycle was closed out, once the devil was sort of confronted, that's another meaning of Seven of Wands. Like you stand up against it. You confront it. You end the cycle, Ten of Swords. Then you can begin to love. Unchain my heart. This is a baby step toward that. And Eight of Wands is also like a liberation. It's back in the flow. The communication may involve an apology. Chariot. And then there's forward movement. Cancerian energy in the realm of feelings, in the realm of moon energy. Moon is sort of the not knowing. This is kind of things imbalanced again for both parties that allows them to move forward, both of them, under one roof, sort of. Pulling in the same direction, driving it in the same direction. It's a card of victory. It's sort of like controlling, because the charioteer has to drive the bus. The white one is on his feet and ready to go. There is a bit of a thing with the other Sphinx is lying down, not going anywhere. The guy has his little tiny whip. Well, it's not movement through the 3D world. It's psychic movement. It's like an alignment on the deep level. And in 3D, in Pentacles energy, that happens slowly. And to move forward chariot-wise, and in a Two of Cups relationship, you got to process it enough to put down the baggage. Because this is sort of eyes on the prize. If you need to start over, do it. Close out that cycle, 10 of Wands, 10 of Swords. To get to 10 of Pentacles twice over. Through communication. It's like round and round we go, and we sort of get a coherent message. If the first thing that needs to be said, page energy, the first, the new thing, maybe an apology. And on both sides, because devil energy kind of, there are two people figured on that card. Because it's codependency. Laying down that baggage for Two of Cups. Interdependency. Love. Not addiction. Not repetitive, unhealthy behavior. It needs to be talked about, and it will be. Both parties want to talk, truthfully about their feelings and about, I think, this Tower event. But feelings they're coming to the surface in a very productive way and bringing connection and clarity. I just looked at the bottom of the deck. It's just bizarre. Last message out, Lovers. Two of Cups of Lovers. Love us. And they're naked in this. Brand spandy naked. Everything's revealed. No hiding here. Lovers. Archetypal energy of connection. The new beginning, Adam and Eve. Unclothed like a baby. The new beginning. Love it. Love you guys. Love me back. Like, share, subscribe. Okay, thanks.